How good is the SWAT RFT? So the SWAT is a new assault rifle in Black Ops 4, and I used to do these videos all the time where I took new items that they added into the game and answered the question, how good are they? Now, it's been some time since I've done this. I believe the last time I actually made one of these videos was in Call of Duty Black Ops 3. So what is the How Good Is series? Basically, we take whatever is new that they added into the game and look at it in depth to see how good this thing actually is. So today we are going to be looking at the weapon stats and some good class setups for the new weapon, the SWAT RFT. On top of that, after looking at the weapon stats, we're going to kind of compare it to other assault rifles in the game, so that way you know what you're getting yourself into before you unlock this weapon. Now, as far as this type of video goes, I don't know if you guys want to see more of this or not, so if you do enjoy this type of video and do want to see more, simply hitting that like button shows me that you enjoy this and makes me want to make more videos like this one. Now, how do you get the SWAT RFT? It's unlocked at level 100 in the tier system, so it is the very last item that you actually get from the black market. So it's the one that you're going to be grinding for throughout the month. So the question is this weapon good enough that it is worth the grind? Now, before we get into the actual weapon stats, I just thought I would let you guys know that later today I will be streaming on Twitch. The link for that will be the first link down in the description. I actually stream 5 nights a week, Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And what I do is I actually do open lobbies. So it gives you guys a chance to actually play some Black Ops 4 with me. So if you're at all interested, go down in the description. It'll be the first link down there. Hit that follow button, and when I'm streaming, you might be one of the lucky players who gets to play with me. Now, as far as the SWAT RFT, what are we looking at? How good is this weapon? So let's start by looking at the damage of the weapon. So up close, this SWAT is going to deal 36 damage, at mid-range 29 damage, and at long range 27 damage. What this means is it's going to be a 5 to a 6 bullet kill. Essentially, you can kind of ignore that range where it drops down to 27 damage. That is specifically for hardcore that makes a difference. So if you're playing regular core, that last damage doesn't really matter. Now, as far as the actual range where the damage drops from a 5 to a 6 bullet kill, that is at 25 meters, and for assault rifles, that's actually a relatively short range to drop to a 6 bullet kill. For example, the ICR drops from a 5 to a 6 bullet kill at 50 meters as opposed to 25 meters. So ICR has double the range of the SWAT. And honestly, that is the SWAT's worst stat, is that damage drop off at only 25 meters. The rest of the stats we're actually going to look at are pretty decent comparatively. However, that range is really its worst stat, especially compared to the other weapons in the game. Now, the next stat that we're going to look at is the rate of fire. Now, keep in mind, all of the numbers we're talking about today are hand-tested, so they might be a little bit off, but it's going to give you a pretty good idea of where it stands, especially compared to the other weapons. So the fire rate I got for this weapon is 633 RPM, which puts it right in the middle of all of the weapons at 3rd place for the assault rifles. So it's not the fastest fire rate out of the assault rifles, it's right in the middle. Now, as far as the time to kill for the SWATs, it's 379 milliseconds when it is a 5 bullet kill and 473 milliseconds when it is a 6 bullet kill. This is the second slowest time to kill out of any of the assault rifles next to the ICR. So relatively slow. However, one of the attachments you can get for the SWAT is high caliber. And high caliber is really going to be the key to unlocking the potential of the SWAT. And when using high caliber with the SWAT, all it takes is one headshot to reduce the time to kill to either 284 milliseconds up to 25 meters or 379 milliseconds at long range. Now, as far as these time to kills, that's actually pretty good. Basically, any weapon that has under a 300 millisecond time to kill is going to be good and competitive with all of the other best weapons in the game. Now, the downside to this is you have to get a headshot. Without that headshot, this has a very slow time to kill, and of course, you need to be using high caliber for that. Now, the next thing we're going to look at is magazine size and reload speed. So the magazine size is 35, which is average for assault rifles in this game, and the reload speed is 1.552 seconds, which for assault rifles is right middle of the road. It's not a fast reload time, but it's also not as slow as something like the Maddox. That being said, though, simply by using fast mags, you can speed speed that up to 0.95 seconds. And honestly, with this weapon, I ran through ammo pretty fast, so I found fast mags is pretty much another must on a class setup. But like I said, we'll talk about best classes in a minute. Now, the other two stats we have to look at are aim down sights time and sprint out time, and these kind of match up with the rest of the assault rifles at 0.3 seconds for both, or 300 milliseconds. Next up, we are going to look at two class setups that I think best represent good classes for the SWAT. And as far as these two go, I really do think the second one is a little bit better, but you don't get to use as many perks with it, so that's why I'm giving you both of them. Now, this first class setup is specifically for players who like longer range engagements, those mid to long range gunfights, and don't like playing too aggressively. So the attachments you are going to use here are red dot, simply because I don't really like the iron sights on this weapon, high caliber, FMJ, and long barrel. High caliber, as we talked about, is pretty much a must on this weapon because headshots are the thing that's going to reduce your time to kill. FMJ is there to counter body armor, and long barrel, we haven't talked about this yet, but essentially almost doubles the range of this weapon. As we talked about, the worst stat on the SWAT is that the damage drop off is at 25 meters. By adding long barrel, I believe it almost extends it to 40 meters, which is a huge improvement. So basically, the two must-use attachments on the SWAT are high caliber and long barrel on any class you have set up. Now, as far as the rest of the class, I'm using stim shot simply because I believe that that's the best gear you can use. We're using engineer, gung ho, and dead silence just because those are my favorite perks, and those are the ones that are going to make you the best with this weapon. Now, the reason why I say that this is for players who like sitting back a little bit more is because you don't have fast mags and you don't have quick draw, which means your aim down sights time is going to be slow and you reload really slow at 1.55 seconds. Now, as far as this second class goes, the only difference is I'm adding fast mags because I found that my biggest problem with this weapon is that I couldn't reload fast enough. Now, it sucks that I don't have quick draw, and technically you could replace FMJ for quick draw if you're in a lobby where no one's using body armor. The reason why I use FMJ is I just get really annoyed when people are using body armor. So if you aren't playing against people with body armor, it's a good idea to switch that FMJ out for quick draw, and then this class is absolutely deadly. And then the other thing with this class is the only perk I'm using on it is gung ho, and that one just simply decreases your sprint out time and makes it so you can shoot the enemies faster. Honestly, it's probably the best perk in the game. So those are my two favorite classes with the SWAT, but now we have to answer the question, how good is this weapon? So the base weapon without any attachments, I'm going to give it a solid 4 out of 10. Honestly, this weapon with no attachments is probably one of the, if not the worst assault rifle in the game. Now, the one stat we haven't talked about is recoil, and this weapon is super accurate, has really low recoil, but the stats with no attachments just aren't great, and you're not going to win a lot of gunfights compared to the other assault rifles in this game. However, once you actually get attachments on this gun, it's one of the middle of the road assault rifles in the game. So with attachments, I maybe give this one a 6.5 out of 10. It's not going to be the best weapon in the game. It's not going to make you a god like other weapons like the Titan, but it is a decent weapon once you do get some attachments on there, specifically high caliber and long barrel. So ladies and gentlemen, those are my thoughts on the SWAT RFT. Definitely not the best weapon in the game, but it's fun to use. It switches things up a little bit, and the one thing I will say is it does feel different than all the other assault rifles. Even though it's kind of similar to the ICR, it feels completely different when you use it, and that's definitely a good thing. Now, my question for you guys is, for those of you who do have this weapon unlocked, or have maybe picked it up and used it a few times, what do you think of this weapon? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you think it's a piece of garbage? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I'm really curious to hear what you guys have to say. Also, if you enjoy this type of video, the How Good Is series, and want to see more videos like this one, the way to show me is by hitting that like button. I really don't know how this video is going to do, but if you enjoy this kind of video and want to see more, just simply hitting that like button shows me that you enjoyed it and want to see more. And guys, as I mentioned earlier, if you enjoy the videos here and maybe want to play some Black Ops 4 with me, the way to do so is check out my Twitch link down in the description. Make sure you follow, and potentially in the next live stream, you could possibly play with me. But guys, if you enjoy these type of videos and like what you see on the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, have notifications on. It is the best way to stay up to date on all of my videos. But guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace out.